It was an autumn night, one of those nights that even owls get scared. I live in the city of Brooksville, where the streets become deserted after dusk, a shadow looming over the old haunted mansion. Known for its Gothic architecture and eerie stories, the mansion was a place that evoked both fear and curiosity in equal measure. It was said that the mansion was haunted by a sinister presence, a spirit tormented by tragedies of the past that many people had seen, yet no one dared to go there. Me and my friends decided to investigate the mysteries of the haunted mansion. Among us were Sophia and our friend Gabriel, a skeptical boy who always questioned the supernatural and claimed it was all nonsense. As we ventured into the dark corridors of the mansion, the atmosphere became increasingly oppressive. The air seemed laden with anguish and despair, as if the walls held the dark secrets of the past, a very bad energy. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed through the corridors, causing us to stop abruptly. It was a sound of dragging footsteps, as if something or someone was moving in the darkness. "Did you hear that?" whispered Sophia, her eyes wide. "It must be just the wind," said Gabriel, trying to sound confident, but his voice trembled slightly. "I don't know, Gabriel. This doesn't seem like just the wind," I retorted, trying to hide my own fear. We decided to continue our exploration of the mansion, ignoring the ominous forebodings that haunted us. However, the deeper we delved, the more sinister the events around us became. Suddenly, we found a secret room hidden behind a wall of rotting wood. As we entered the dark space, we were met with a macabre scene. Walls covered in ancient inscriptions, broken furniture, and a heavy atmosphere of despair. "This is getting weirder and weirder," murmured Sophia, looking at the inscriptions on the walls. "It's all a bunch of old nonsense," Gabriel replied, trying to hide his nervousness. That's when we heard a whisper coming from the shadows. A whisper so chilling it made our hair stand on end. "There! Did you hear that?" asked Sophia, her voice trembling. "It must be some animal, or maybe the house is just creaking," Gabriel said, but now it was evident that he too was scared. Sophia, overcome by fear, tried to convince us to flee. "Let's get out of here. Something isn't right," she pleaded. "Wait just one more minute. Let's see what it is," I replied, though my heart was beating fast. But it was already too late. A spectral figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with supernatural light. It was the spirit of the former owner of the mansion, a woman tormented by a past of tragedies and injustices. With a cry of anguish, we tried to escape, but the door to the secret room slammed shut, trapping us inside. We felt cornered, at the mercy of the vengeful spirit that surrounded us. "What does she want from us?" I whispered, fear evident in my voice. "I don't know, but we need to get out of here," Sophia screamed, trying to open the door. And so the night unfolded, in a tangle of terror and despair, as the spirits of the past clamored for justice. To this day, the mansion remains as a dark monument to the horrors that lurk in the shadows of the night, a haunting reminder of the fragility of human life in the face of the supernatural forces that surround us. Since that day, we have never been the same. The memories of that night haunt us, a constant reminder of what we faced. And the question that always haunts us is, what else is hidden in the shadows of the mansion? I used to live near the trail that led to the forest on the outskirts of Canada. It was a quiet and secluded place, perfect for those seeking peace and direct contact with nature. I had always been passionate about trails, and the forest around my house offered countless opportunities to explore and discover new paths. It was a cold autumn afternoon when I decided to take a walk. The ground was covered with leaves of red and gold hues, and the fresh, pure air was invigorating. After walking for a few hours, I noticed a faint trail branching off from the main path. Driven by curiosity, I decided to follow it. The trail led me to an old and seemingly abandoned cabin, hidden among tall trees and dense bushes. The structure was made of weathered wood, with broken windows and the door ajar. As I approached, I was immediately hit by an unbearable smell, a mixture of decay and something indefinable that made my stomach churn. I hesitated, but curiosity won out, and I decided to investigate. I pushed the door, which creaked in protest, revealing a dark and dusty interior. Inside the cabin, the darkness was almost total, with only a few rays of sunlight streaming through the cracks in the walls. The smell was even worse inside, forcing me to cover my nose with the sleeve of my jacket. I tried to turn on my flashlight, but it failed. Luckily, I had an old lighter with me. As I lit the lighter, the dim light revealed a disturbing scene. There were old furniture scattered around the room, all covered in a thick layer of dust. But what really caught my attention were the marks on the floor. They were dark stains, as if something had been dragged across the floor. My heart began to beat faster as I followed the marks to a room at the back of the cabin. There, I found something I will never forget. In the corner of the room, there was a pile of old cloths, and underneath them, something was moving slightly. Carefully, I lifted the cloths and saw a dead animal, partially decomposed and covered in claw marks. The most frightening thing, however, was the wall of the room. It was covered in strange drawings and symbols that I couldn't understand, all made with a red substance that could only be blood. In the center of the wall, there was a phrase written in English: "They will come for you." Suddenly, a loud noise made me jump in fright. It was the sound of something or someone moving in the forest outside. The feeling of being watched was overwhelming, and a wave of panic washed over me. I ran out of the cabin without looking back, stumbling over roots and branches as I tried to find my way back. Finally, I managed to leave the trail and head home, gasping for breath and with my heart racing. I don't know what I found in that cabin in the forest, but the sense of danger was real and inescapable. Since that day, I have avoided the trail and the forest, and every night, when I close my eyes, the symbols on the wall and the threatening phrase come to mind, reminding me that there are things in the depths of the forest that hide and may never be discovered. I'm just not going back to find out. There's a memory that never leaves me, a fragment of time that follows me like a shadow. When I was young and full of courage, working as the lone keeper of an ancient lighthouse on the cliff's edge. That night, while I was up there scanning the vast horizon for signs of danger, something strange happened. A dense fog began to form around the lighthouse, turning the surroundings into a world of shadows and mystery. My heart began to beat faster as I tried to understand what was happening. I knew it wasn't an ordinary fog. There was something supernatural about it, something that stirred my deepest instincts. "Do you see this?" I asked, even though I knew I was alone. The lighthouse creaked as if in response. Then it was when I saw it. A figure emerged from the shadows of the fog, floating like a specter from the past. Its empty eyes seemed to pierce my soul, while its outstretched hands beckoned me into an unknown and frightening world. "Who are you?" My voice trembled, almost inaudible. Fear seized me, and I recoiled, my legs trembling like leaves in the wind. I tried to scream for help, but my words died in my throat as I struggled to understand what was happening. "Help me," the figure whispered, its voice echoing in the silence of the night. For endless minutes I stood there, trapped in that supernatural encounter, unsure if it was reality or just an illusion of my own fear. Every beat of my heart echoed in the silence of the night, while the ghostly figure watched me with frightening intensity. "Do you want something from me?" I managed to ask, my hands cold and clammy. When the fog finally dissipated and the figure disappeared, I was left alone with my own doubts and fears. Since then, I have never been able to forget that night, that experience that challenged my understanding of the world and showed me that there are mysteries beyond our comprehension. Now, looking back, I realize that night changed something within me. It taught me that the unknown can be terrifying, but it can also be a source of learning and growth. And though I still don't have all the answers, I continue my journey in search of truth, facing my fears with courage and determination. Every evening, the lighthouse still emits its steady light, a beacon in the darkness. But I know that the true darkness is not in the sea, but in the mysteries that surround our existence. "Are you afraid to go back there?" asked an old friend years later. "It's not fear," I replied. "It's respect. Respect for the unknown that resides in the fog." Oh, the memories of our youth, when life was an adventure filled with mysteries and emotions. Raphael, my childhood friend, and I always ventured together, challenging the limits of the unknown. But nothing could prepare us for that fateful autumn night when we decided to explore what seemed to be just an old abandoned building. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as we arrived at Raphael's family's rural property. The cold autumn air enveloped us as we walked through the yard illuminated by the glow of lanterns. The laughter and warm voices of Raphael and his father welcomed us, dissipating any anxiety that might linger in the air. As we made our way to the perfect off-road trail, I couldn't help but feel excited about the prospect of adventure unfolding before us. And when we came across the abandoned building, an old church shrouded in darkness, curiosity consumed us. But what started as a simple exploration soon turned into something much darker. The silence of the night was interrupted only by the sound of our cautious steps as we approached the window, and then what we saw left us breathless. A shadowy figure, hunched over one of the church pews, seemed to silently watch us. At first, we thought it was just a mannequin or an unfortunate wanderer seeking shelter. But when the figure moved, we realized we were facing something much more sinister. Fear gripped our hearts as we realized we were being watched by real eyes, full of disturbing intensity. Panic consumed us as we tried to flee, our trembling bodies moving frantically as we struggled to find the bikes hidden in the wheat field. The sound of quick, heavy footsteps approaching echoed in our ears, filling us with terrifying agony. And when we finally emerged from the darkness, our hearts pounding in our chests, we felt a momentary relief, knowing we were safe, at least for now. But the images of that night would haunt our dreams for weeks on end, the shadow of the sinister figure still looming over us, like a constant reminder of the danger lurking in the shadows. And as we move forward with our lives, one question continues to echo in our minds. Who or what was truly hidden in that abandoned church?